Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Syzygy Optimal Health series, where we discuss different topics on health and well being and disease prevention. My name is Ryan Fernandez. I will be your facilitator for tonight. We're going to hear from two of our colleagues who will be sharing their insights. Both of them happen to be experts in their fields. And they will be talking about the topic of food. And who doesn't like to talk about food? That's all of many of our activities, our get togethers, the milestones in our life revolve around food. But are all foods the same? We also have a saying, you are what you eat. So is it true that based on our diet, based on our nutrition, this could have a serious effect and serious consequences on our health? So we'll get the skinny on that. But before we jump into things, I want to make sure that everyone who's with us today can see our screen and hear me clearly. We will have a breakout room afterwards. So I just want to remind everyone of three things for the rest of tonight's activity. The first thing is you're very welcome to ask questions, but I do request that you send them privately just so that we can keep track of who's asking what. Secondly, we do have breakout rooms at the end. So once this is over, you don't have to exit right away. You can join one of the breakout rooms. Now, we have pre-assigned many of you to the rooms that we think you'd best be able to interact with, but you can always message us and we can bring you to the appropriate room. Lastly, at the end of tonight's Zoom meeting, we're going to have a health survey. So when you exit or when this meeting ends, you're going to see a pop-up health survey. Please help us out. If you've never answered it, please give us maybe a minute or 2 minutes to just let us know a bit more about your background in terms of your health. And that way we could get back to you and maybe help you find a plan that really fits your health needs. Anyway, with that out of the way, I'm very excited to call on our panel for tonight. Our first panelist has been working with children with learning disabilities for several decades. She has a background in nursing, which allows her to encourage children to and their families towards healthy habits. So please help me welcome, all the way from Cebu, Romina Rizarri. Hi, Romina.
Hello, Ryan. Good evening, everybody.
Thank you for joining us tonight. And our second panel member brings a wealth of expertise as both a pharmacist and an optometrist. With a strong dedication to promoting health through nutrition, she has been instrumental in advocating for the inclusion of ocular nutrition or eye nutrition in optometric education. Drawing from her family and clinical experiences, along with extensive research, she has influenced numerous colleagues to recognize the vital role nutrition plays in maintaining optimal vision and overall well-being. So let's welcome our second panel member, Dr. Net Soltura. Hi, Dr. Net. Let me unmute you there.
Please unmute.
Yeah, Net, you can unmute, please.
Okay. Okay. I'm good. Yeah, good evening, everyone. I hope that everyone would be able to learn much from tonight's session. Okay.
Okay, so we're very excited to learn from both of you. I certainly am. And I will be asking our esteemed panel several questions about food. And of course, we encourage the audience to participate. This isn't a lecture, so we want to hear as well from all of you who are with us tonight. So the first question I'd like to ask Romina and Net is, what exactly are whole foods?
Yeah, whole food is a new term. No, we operationalize that by saying it's food in its natural form. No? Your grandmother should be able to recognize it. No? And it doesn't need labels or nutrition facts because everybody knows what it is.
I absolutely agree. We've got a picture actually shared by Romina. This actually makes me very hungry. All of this looks very delicious and very healthy. But I've also noticed, Romina, that I don't see anything that was made in a made in a factory, or seems like all of these food were harvested or caught in the wild. Would you agree with that?
Ideally, they should be locally sourced and they should be very fresh. So I remember before my mom would say her mother would go to the market in the morning to prepare the meals for the day, every day. So it's going to be a little bit like that. No?
Yes. Anyone who goes to the market regularly can tell the difference between something that's fresh and something that has been preserved one way or another. So I'm curious, DocNet, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts? What for you are whole foods?
Well, they are actually natural, unprocessed food, and they are actually consumed in their original state. No, I remember when I was young, cow's milk or carabau's milk actually came to us in what's this? Liquor bottles. They call it lapad. They were fresh, no, and then covered with sealed with banana leaves, no. That's what they use to shape it like a cork and then seal it with that. And then they come in warm. And then sometimes naman, even the eggs, for example, we're used to having fried eggs, scrambled eggs. During our time, we just have steamed rice, and then we crack the fresh eggs on the steamed rice. So that's one example. And then sometimes we have breakfast with grilled fish. I was born in an island, and I usually went to during summers. I went to live with my lola, 1 or 2 months, and then we have breakfast and grilled fish for breakfast, freshly caught from the sea. So those are one example. And sometimes we feast on nuts and mangoes harvested from our mango tree, and several more. We just have to get used to climbing trees and then picking those fruits. Yeah. So minimal processing, that's one key characteristic, and they're nutrient dense, full of vitamins, minerals, fiber, and antioxidants. That's whole foods for you.
Thanks so much, DocNet. For some of us who are joining from the provinces, this might still be very close to what lifestyle was before, the way that you live. You have
Yes.
closer access to fresh sources. DocNet, by the way, is from Los Baños, so still a bit removed from the major city. I'm from Quezon City, and I have to tell you, the food we eat is very, very different. But anyway, I think that leads to our second question. So we just talked a little bit about whole foods, and you gave us some examples of what fit that definition for you. Dumako naman tayo to the other end of the spectrum, which is processed foods. So, Romina, you've also sent me, and DocNet as well, you sent me sample pictures which for you best represent processed foods. Please do elaborate. I'd like to know more about what you mean by this. Let's start with you.
Yeah, so we process food to make it delicious and interesting. So I remember before I would have roommates from Pampanga, Manila, and they're adding spices. They use real tomatoes when they make sinigang. No? So when you cook something, you dry it or You mix it together and you can recognize the ingredients. No? It is called processed food. Okay. The key word is you can recreate the dish in your home. No? So in these photos, you can still see, no, meat was marinated, the kimchi fermentation is done. No, for some, meron ng chips, no, nauso na yon. But oh nga, bakit siya napunta dyan? But that's the early, that was the early version of junk food, no, during my time. No, actually, I never really grew out of it. I didn't. Maybe I'm lucky. I was never attracted to the new versions and the new flavors and the new brands. But that was it for me. No, so something was canned, something was in a, something became a candy or something became a jam. How about you, Dr. Net? What was processed for you?
I always want to refer to my youth. No, the very first processed food that I encountered was actually processed milk, which was Dairy Gold. No, and it tasted very different from the fresh milk that was usually supplied to us. So this was because of the pasteurization and then the canning process. Somehow it has deprived the natural milk of certain natural flavors that will make it actually enjoyable to eat. And then to think that breastfeeding was actually the best way to feed a baby, a young, a newborn child, most of us were breastfed, but sometimes, because of probably the lack of education, some mothers consider it more convenient without understanding the differences in the nutritional values of the canned milk and the breast milk. No? So most mothers actually resorted to, including my mom, resorted to Dairy Gold, in feeding their young children. And the only other canned goods that I came to know of was actually sardines. Okay, although sardines was good because the processing was very simple, very minimal, just maybe some salt and then oil and then, just the canning process. It was still good. But otherwise, these were the start of the processing of foods. But the processing that you were mentioning there in the dish, on the upper left, was actually something to enhance the food, but they did not add anything artificial to it, unlike the processed foods that are available in the market today. So those are just used to enhance flavors, and even if they're processed, if you cook them, they're going to spoil. If you are not able to preserve them or put them in a freezer or maybe can them and such. So still, the nutrients would still be available in the minimally processed food. Minimally processed, especially for cooking, you destroy the bacteria, you make it actually safer to eat, for everyone. So, and of course, not everyone can digest, especially the young ones, the young kids, can digest uncooked food. So those were some of the purposes of the minimal processing. It's the processing, the old times, it's different from the processing of the current period.
Yeah, interesting. So we can't lump together all types of processed food because from the very first caveman, I would imagine, who needed to salt their fish so that it lasts longer. That's a type of processing.
Yes.
I remember growing up and seeing my grandfather. He passed away in his late 90s. He would make his own bagoong. He had a second fridge where he would preserve it. And wow, it really smelled very interesting. But that was very different from what you would possibly see in the supermarket because he made it from scratch. He put together all of the ingredients and made his own bagoong. But anyway, but you also touched on a third category, DocNet, which is how processed food has transformed, I don't know if you can call it evolved, but how it's changed over time so that it's become more than just keeping food fresh or palatable, but now it's about enhancing the flavor, making it more tasty, maybe even more something that people eat again and again. So my next
Yeah.
question for the both of you is, what now is, how would you define now what we would call ultra processed foods? So that's something that sounds very, very extreme, but something that we also see every day. And once again, you shared with us some examples,
Mhm.
which is
which
actually, I think, more familiar now.
yeah,
No? You can see a lot of these when you go out.
yeah,
Ultra processed is more of industrial. No?
Mhm.
This comes from breaking down the food into its molecules, no? And then reassembling it again. So what happens when you break down the food? You remove two things, the fiber and the nutrient. This is done, no? Especially nowadays, because it will allow the food to increase its shelf life, no?
Mhm.
From months to years. No? So they have to add a lot of sugar, no? To make it taste good. And we cannot separate the ingredients anymore, and we cannot recreate this at home.
I'm seeing a lot
Yes.
of food that I would normally enjoy.
Yes. This is more familiar na nga.
And most kids, would you agree, Romina, that most kids would
They will pack
prefer
this.
this?
They'll pack this in their lunchbox, their snack kits. They'll
Right.
ask it for reward when
Mhm,
they get a good score.
mhm. It's
Yeah.
also, at least for the candies, they're very colorful. And the
Mm,
crunch, the crispiness.
yeah.
uh,
Everything is manufactured. The texture, the taste, na? Um, even how long it lasts. So you even find them sometimes on sale, na? But then you have to remember that when items are on sale, they're almost expiring. So which might mean they've been around for more than a year.
right. Or they travel great distances. Like you go to a mall, you'll see a lot of snacks, for example, from outside the country or even outside Asia. And that
Yes.
they've been stored for lengthy periods of time. Let's move on to you, DocNet. Any
Yeah.
thoughts on this?
Yes. What some of the characteristics of ultra processed food is that aside from them being highly processed ingredients which contain hydrogenated oils, why do they hydrogenate oils? No? Because if they're not hydrogenated, they rancid so easily, and the flavor would not be good. So they hydrogenate it in order for the fat to last longer, and the food that it is introduced or and combined with no, would last much longer. Okay, they have a lot of refined sugars, and they have actually multiple additives. No, they have preservatives, stabilizers, emulsifiers, flavor enhancers. So that alone, no, deprives them of all the nutritional value. You practically remove all of the nutritional value because of the processing that these foods go through. But in the end, no, what they do, no, which is actually very deceptive, no. So they make the ultra processed food look healthy by adding synthetic multivitamins, vitamins and nutrients, no, and they call it enriched foods, no? So that makes it look healthy so that people would buy it. They look for something that is enriched with vitamin A, enriched with vitamin D. They put in everything that has actually been removed. The natural version of those nutrients actually has been removed before the processing. And now they're trying to put it back, but they're not putting back the natural because they can't. They are putting in the synthetic vitamins, which is not that beneficial actually to the body. No, so they're very high in unhealthy components, and this is actually what would result in the chronic diseases. No, I remember reading on Facebook one time. No, there was one person who preserved her. Well, this is one fast food. No, starts with letter M. No, it's the U.S. based. No, the U.S. based company. No, she preserved her hamburger for 20 years. and it was there. It wasn't even affected by, it wasn't even attacked by ants. It wasn't even afflicted with fungus, no, or yung amag-amag. There's none of the type. It was there. She kept it for 20 years, and it still looked like a hamburger. She just, it was just for experiment, just for fun. She tested the product, no? So that hamburger. And I remember I cannot enjoy most of the burgers that are available in the fast foods because they're full of extenders, no, solubilizers, no, stabilizers, and this would definitely affect the. They just try to make it palatable by putting in veggies, ketchup, mayonnaise, and all that, no. But actually, those are definitely junk food. No, you're not getting any benefit from those food. So these are the reasons why we develop chronic diseases, and I'm sure I think Romina is going to discuss that aspect of the ultra processed food. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of things that we don't usually hear in the commercials. Right. And we also have to acknowledge that there is the addictive aspect of many of these.
Yes.
You just don't want to eat it once. You look for it. It's connected with feeling happy, at least with marketing. And kids can be very impressionable. Isn't that right, Romina?
That's true. They develop the culture. I'm sorry, Romina.
Yes, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, they
I agree,
develop the
Dr.
culture.
Yeah. We seem to only celebrate with food. That's why I try to encourage parents to explore experiences or things. Because a reward that's a thing, like a treasured toy or book, might trigger some happier memories than just always eating in the same place. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
So,
That could be a whole different topic, Romina. How to
yes, a whole different
How to
topic.
talk to parents about
how to
eating
talk to
healthy.
them. Exactly. But anyway, I think most of our audience is very much aware of the current state of things. But we also want to go back to whole foods, which is going back to the roots, going back to how things work. So I'd like to ask both of you, starting again with Romina, why should we eat more of whole foods? What are the benefits, the advantages of consuming
Um,
whole foods?
whole food, because it's natural, is very bioavailable. It's very easy for the body to recognize it, and the body feels satisfied. You mentioned addiction kasi. So it's not really addictive because the body knows na after so many years of evolving and adapting to these natural nutrients, the body has the hormones to tell it, oh, you're full, you're satisfied, you can stop. Na? So what do we get? What are these nutrients? Well, we get first the essential amino acids from the proteins, the essential fats. We also get vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients. Science is now allowing us to capture and record these. No? And more importantly, fruits and vegetables will even have fiber. No? Which allows the body to protect itself because the fiber is food for the gut bacteria. So even if you're eating something toxic like fructose from fruits and vegetables, the gut bacteria will eat the fiber and your body is spared, or at least the liver doesn't have to metabolize the fructose that you just ate. So that's the advantage of whole food. God was really such a genius. The masterpiece that he created, the interaction of food and the human body is really designed so well. So and also designed to make us survive and be healthy. Do you have anything to add to that, Dr. Net?
Yeah, that reminds me actually of one of my favorite verses in scripture, Genesis 1:29, to see how God's graciousness actually provided for everything that we needed on this earth. No, Then God said, Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the surface of all the earth, and every tree which has fruit yielding seed, it shall be food for you. And to add to that, Genesis 1 to 30, even the animals, no, that we finally consume, no, and to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the sky, and to everything that moves on the earth which has life, I have given every green plant for food, and it was so. So these are actually the Lord's design, the Lord's provisions for us. So indirectly, he said that we can actually consume the animals, but those animals should also be consuming plant food, the green life. Yon.
We should follow the food chain properly.
Follow the food
To
chain.
translate that to the little kids, if there are any listening. Yes, correct.
Well, as a parent, I have a 5-month-old baby.
Hindi pa niya
I'm very
maintindihan.
much concerned with what I will be giving my child because very soon enough he'll be taking solids. So just a while ago we were with him and he got very curious because he saw my wife eating a carrot stick and he wanted to I guess teeth on it. So we had to
He was
ask the doctor, is it
curious.
fine? But as early as now, I
By
really
6
am
months, no?
concerned. Yeah, I want him to be very much acquainted and enjoy and use, well, not use, but treat veggies as the baseline for what's delicious. Yeah. But anyway, that
Yes.
comes gradually. But
That's
good
good. It's a
points.
good
I
goal.
love that we go back to ancient wisdom for our modern needs because some things have been figured out way before what we have today, and yet they can solve current concerns of ours. But anyway, we've talked about the benefits of eating real food, whole food. Let's go back again to ultra processed food. We've seen we all have stories. We know of people who've uh, experienced the consequences, if you will, of an unhealthy diet. But you're the experts, you work with patients. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what happens. Oh, sorry, what happens with uh, ultra processed food?
I'll go another geek route, huh? With a little bias towards the children, because you just mentioned your child. No, so the one of the biggest thing that concerns me about ultra processed food is that it concentrates sugar and it delivers it into the body very rapidly. No? So like I said, the design of food is sugar in fruit or in a vegetable is wrapped around fiber, which protects the body. But when you remove the fiber, no, all you get is just sugar. So you can, to make it simple, you can actually feed your son easily, no? A lot of fructose from 4 apples or more, simply by giving him apple juice. Na? But a child won't be able to tolerate eating 4 apples in one sitting. So when it's ultra processed, the child can consume a large amount of sugar, and if it's even liquid, it's delivered directly to the body quickly, all through the digestive system. That's why they say liquid sugar even manifests as colorectal cancer after a few years. So the burden on the liver, because fiber is not there to be eaten by the gut bacteria, the burden on the liver is very great to metabolize the sugar the body just drank. No? And this kind of situation creates a havoc in hormones. Let's just call it insulin resistance. No? And we see it physically when we see obesity. No? And now we're seeing a large population of newborns who are already obese. No? And that's not their fault. They're not preparing their meals. They're not choosing. No? It can also manifest as hypertension. That's my story. I didn't reach maybe a little overweight, but I didn't reach the levels of obesity, but I was very hypertensive. No, some of the kids I work with have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. No, their belly looks like a beer belly. And I'm talking about 10-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 17-year-olds. They're not yet drinking. No? And then type 2 diabetes, which actually manifests now in children already, not just before, during my time when I was still studying to be a nurse. It was a disease that hits after 45, 50, but now very young. Dementia, na, is also another sign, or for the younger people, they call it the brain fog. Na, you just completely zone out, or you forget what you were about to do. For women of reproductive age, some of them suffer PCOS. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, different forms of cancer. And we try to explain it because we understand that there are chemicals, preservatives, artificial flavors, in terms of the sweeteners also that we add and the coloring. No, they actually destroy what we call the mitochondria of each cell of our body. That's why it looks like it's attacking everywhere all at once. Is there anything you want to add, Dr. Net? I think she can add more details to that statement. Oh, you're still muted, Dr. Net. Please unmute.
Doc Net, you're still muted.
Apo. Still muted. There.
Oh, okay. Sige. Some stories lang. No? When my kids were in their grade school, no, we had they have their music teacher. She was just very young, no, 42, and she died of cancer. And you know, when we opened, when we got to see her kitchen and we opened the cupboard, it was actually full of canned goods, the high-end ones, spam, ham, no, what's this, the imported sausages, no, in the freezer, that type, no. And the husband was actually an executive in a pharmaceutical company, and they're used to eating at high-end places also. But those high-end places, most of them are actually processed foods that they were eating. Maybe too much of the meals also, even if they're good, no, too much calories that have been actually ingested, no, can actually produce what's this, chronic diseases, and even life-threatening diseases like cancer. And just to let you know, during my some of my subjects in postgrad, no, do you know that the biggest consumers of antibiotics are not humans, not the hospitals? The biggest consumers are actually livestock farms, those who produce milk, those who produce chickens, no, beef, pork, no. Most of them are actually laced with hormones and antibiotics in order to protect the investment of these owners of these large manufacturing companies, food manufacturing companies. No, they inject the pigs, even if they're not yet sick, just to prevent them from getting sick. They're injected with antibiotics, or their food is actually mixed with antibiotics and then hormones. So also, I have a friend who grows chickens, no, somewhere in Pangasinan, and I found out that the usual harvest time usually for chickens is 45 days. No, they managed to reduce the growing time in order to meet the large demand for chickens in fast food stores. No, from 45 days, they were able to bring it down to 40, and then later on bring it down further to 35, and the last that I've heard of, to 29 days. You can imagine, somebody was telling me, ang lalaki na ng chickens, and yet they sound like chicks. No? So I guess that I can relate to one experience. When the first time I was in the US, I love drinking milk. I love dairy, no? And because there's plenty of fresh milk there in the US, no? I drank for 1 whole month, no? Plenty of fresh milk, and I gained 10 pounds.
Wow.
And milk should not make you gain pounds. No, it should be a healthy food. No, and then I had to research how come this happens. So that's what I found out. They inject hormones into the cows in order to double the production of milk, no, for commercial purposes and for greater profits, of course, no. So that's how you do it. So you inject those, and that's why the people, there are so many people in the U.S. now. Maybe 1/3 of the population is actually obese already, probably because of the consumption of dairy, no, the large consumption of dairy, and then most of them are usually uh, in the form of ice cream, no, in the form of other dairy products, no, cream. What else do they have? No, yogurt, and then the yogurt is also, there's so much of sugar in the yogurt products that they sell in the groceries. No, that kind. So it has to go back actually to the food processing. No, the kind of diseases that we actually get, no, and what's this, the chronic diseases that we get is actually because of the food that we are consuming, and that's because of the food processing. So the food processing starts actually from the growing, and then of course the processing, and then of course the formulation of these foods, no, and then most of us actually think that these are healthy, so we consume them, especially if they, if they're cheap, they're advertised as something that is healthy and cheap, no. That's how we get those these chronic diseases that actually threaten our lives, no? So that is actually one aspect of ultra food processing that we are not seeing, no. So the manufacturing of the production of livestock, instead of cows producing calves only once a year, they are made to produce they're made to become they're made pregnant twice a year in order to produce more milk for greater production of the milk and for commercial. It's actually all profit oriented, no? Nothing wrong with profit orientation, but if it actually harms the population,
I'm sure those cows
the
are
population.
dying.
Yeah.
I'm sure those cows are dying.
Most of them are actually, and after they give birth to the second one, and they're actually breastfeeding, and most of them actually have this mastitis and inflammation of the breasts, no, and because of that they get sick, they get infected. Yeah, they
I'm glad I'm lactose intolerant. By accident, I skipped that. But
those are some of the aspects that we need to understand also. Yeah, that's why the trend now is actually to go organic, get plants from local suppliers, and also from local growers of cows. No?
Very, very alarming. You mentioned the statistics for the US DocNet. Actually, in one study, by 2030, so that's not far away from now, it'll be nearly half. Half of Americans will be obese.
And we are overweight. We are actually following suit from 1:4. Actually, we're steadily growing to 1:3 in terms of obesity. Also, the Philippines.
3 point something out of 10 are overweight. Or sorry, overweight, and then obese is anyway. You can look that up. But there is both a personal and a public a lot to this. Anyway, let's go back to the topic of habits that we can actually personally build, the things that we can control, the factors we can control. So how do we make the shift? Let's say you and I, or we have somebody we know who is very much reliant on ultra processed food because it's convenient, it's cheaper, it tastes delicious. But they want to change. They've realized, you know what? If I need to change my health destiny, then it has to begin with day-to-day habits. So we have here pictures, Romina, that you picked out. How do you think that person could begin to make that change?
You have to start with your why, a why that works for you. Now, when I went on my journey towards health, it wasn't to look good in clothes. It wasn't the hot button for me. Now, in my case, it was to heal my liver. So you have to know, why are you trying to be healthy? If you're a parent, maybe it's because you want a child who will live longer than you, healthier and stronger. No? So you might even just simply want to feed your gut bacteria. No? So it can also help you overall. Okay. Maybe you should need to plan. No, you have to have a shopping list. And then when you shop, you buy fresh and you buy local food. Now, in my case, I don't go to wet markets, no, and like that. I still go to a supermarket, but I don't enter the middle. I'm always at the edge, the periphery, and then I'm done shopping in less than 10 minutes. I'm already lining up to pay. Now, because if you look at supermarkets as like a museum that you feel you have to visit all aisles and look at each and every promo, you'll be enticed. You'll be enticed. You'll end up wasting more time and even buying things that you shouldn't be eating. And then since you're very deliberate already, you might as well plan the nutritional meals, no? The meals you will prepare for the week. Plan it ahead because you will know, oh, I can cut the ingredients, I can store them in a certain way in the ref so that I can just mix it a few minutes before I eat it. When I'm about to eat breakfast, I only need 5 minutes to prepare my omelette, no? Because everything I need is already prepared. You can also, it might even come out cheaper, pack your meals. Na? Make it attractive, make it interesting, delicious, and convenient. Because most of us, I'm included, na? I grew up living next to my school, staying in dormitory. So I know all about buying convenient food, na? And visiting too many 7-Elevens, more than I will admit right now. Na? So I know the attraction of ultra processed food because I also have to admit I was lazy. No, so you have to make it convenient, you have to make it attractive that you're not going to feel it's easier to just buy fast food. Okay. What I noticed, because I also eat with senses, I'm sensitive to smell, that I like cooking with butter. And thankfully, it's a good thing. Now, if you don't like cooking with butter, you can use coconut oil or extra virgin olive oil. Do not use seed oil, like Dr. Net said. No? The biggest benefit for this, if you change the way you cook and your meals are prepared more thoughtfully, is that you will lose the inflammation that's already in your body. Actually, get to know the body that you will have after you've started some health habits. I fall in love with it, no? Because when I started my health journey, I was losing problems like hypertension, it's resolved, no? Pre-diabetes, gone. No? I felt some arthritic pain, gone. So you will fall in love with a body that doesn't have a lot of inflammation. My allergies disappeared. People started to say, oh, you look younger. And I was more creative and energetic. I had the energy now to run. So you begin to love the person you become. It really helps you overall, not just physically, no, but also emotionally. But the best part is you obtain metabolic flexibility. Now your body learns to be satisfied with the little that you eat, and then it learns to burn what you have, no, whether it's stored sugar or stored fat. So it's really worth the new decisions.
Interesting and very helpful, Romina. DocNet, I want to talk to you about filling in the gaps because, of course, how we all wish that we could just source our food from the very best quality, eat as much veggies as we can every day, and have a perfect 100% holistic diet. But at least for some of us, the ones who live in major cities or we're very busy, how can we fill in those nutritional gaps?
Okay. Before I go into that, let me add to the tips that Romina gave. No, one of the reasons why I shop longer than most wives or most other people is that I read labels. Okay, so if you see a product that has a long list of labels, no, stay away from it. And just one example, no, my family loves peanut butter, no, but when I look at the ingredients of peanut butter, even the ones that are being sent to us from the US by my sister and my daughter, no, well, pinagtsatsagaan na lang namin, sige, ubusin lang paminsan-minsan lang naman. But there is one favorite brand. I forgot actually the name of the brand, but it has only 3 ingredients, no? Peanuts, roasted peanuts, and it has its own natural oil, and then salt and cane sugar. So it's not much. Sugar is fine, no, in a way, but not unless you substitute sugar in the absence of fat to make it more palatable and make it more addictive, no? But it is the only peanut butter that I saw that has only 3 ingredients. Okay, so anyway, going back to Ryan's question about filling in the gaps, no? No matter how much we try to eat a balanced diet, no, it is not possible all the time, and we still are forced to eat some processed food, no? It cannot be helped. But the only way we can actually prevent the development of chronic diseases would be to use supplements, no? And we have actually been using, for example, vitamin C to enhance our immunity. If we are not able to consume fresh vegetables as much as we would want to, or the vitamin C rich fruits that we would want to, no, we supplement by using vitamin C. And for us, we have acerola. Okay. And then also the vitamin A rich foods also, well, these are mostly green leafy vegetables now, which you should be eating. The reason why you have to have a fatty dressing or an oily dressing is that vitamin A is absorbed, no, dissolves in fat, no. It's better absorbed when you take fat with it. That's why we have to have a dressing, not just the vegetables per se. So in the absence again of that, and we also of the sometimes it's not easy to access fresh green leafy vegetables, no, unless you plant, no. But we also supplement, no. We have in our the arsenal of Nutrilite, for example, we have multi-carotene to give us that kind of supplementation. There's a lot more. The daily multivitamins make sure that we get enough nutrition with the minimum daily requirements that our body needs, no, when we are unable to eat a healthy, balanced diet all the time. Okay, so those are some of the tips that I can actually advise. We have actually a lot of products, vitamin B naturals that we have. However, not all supplements are made equal. So we have to make sure that you know the company profile, you know the history of the company, and you know how they process, how they source their raw materials in order to make the vitamins, and how they process those plant products into readily consumable supplements or vitamins.
Yeah, thanks so much, Doc Net. You shared with us actually a graph. Maybe you can walk us through what this means. This is based on Nutrilite vitamin supplements. They're acerola C. So
Yes.
many people know that vitamin C is great to take, and it's one of the most popular vitamins, at least here in the Philippines. But what sets this Nutrilite acerola C apart from your typical maybe ascorbic acid?
Okay. Should I answer that, or Romina?
Go ahead.
Whichever of you.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'll take it. What everybody knows as vitamin C, you know, is not really vitamin C. It's just ascorbic acid. You know? If you take a look at the molecule of vitamin C, it's really a huge molecule, no? And it has other components within the ascorbic acid shell. So the ascorbic acid is actually the outermost shell of the vitamin C, and within it you have the P factors, the K factors, things that are actually useful, no, and it will make vitamin C easily absorbed, and it will make it more effective. Our acerola concentrate is actually a very, very good source of vitamin C, not just ascorbic acid, although it has ascorbic acid that will just increase the volume to make it manageable, to make it easier for handling purposes. No, if you see the graph above, no, the one on the upper graph, it has a lot of other phytonutrients, no, that can contribute to the effectivity of the vitamin C. You call that synergistic activity, no, synergistic effect, no. So your vitamin C is actually more effective, even if it has a low dose, because of the presence of all the other phytonutrients that work with it to make it more readily absorbable, no, bioavailable in the body, and exert its effect compared to the synthetic vitamin C. And I remember when I was young, again, no, the dosage of vitamin C that I came to know of was only 100 milligrams, and the higher dose was 300 milligrams. But as time went on, no, the dosages of vitamin C became increasingly higher. So they started with 300 milligrams, and then you have a 500 milligrams, and before you know it, now they have 1,000 milligrams. Okay, why? Because the ascorbic acid is just 20% absorbed, unlike the natural acerola vitamin C. No, the ascorbic acid is just 20% absorbed, which means 80% of the rest of the ascorbic acid that you are ingesting is just thrown out into the urine, excreted into the urine, which actually creates an expensive urine. So that's why they increase the concentration, hoping that there will be more of the ascorbic acid that will be absorbed. But it doesn't really work that way. It's the phytonutrients actually that is the secret in what's this, for a better absorption of the vitamin C, and it becomes actually more useful. So from experience, like sometimes when we run out of acerola, we have stocks here because some friends or some relatives give us ascorbic acid. No, so we have the 500 milligrams. I don't know if it's just bias, no, but I don't feel any effect actually. But when I take acerola C, no, whenever I have a sinus problem, for example, and I'm not able to go to the clinic to be treated by my husband, no, I just take acerola every other hour, and before you know it, you know, this phlegm just comes down, falls down into your throat, and you can just spill it out, and spit it out, and that's how it is, no. That's how it is. You see the difference between the synthetic and the natural. So that's a simple explanation for the acerola. So most other vitamins also. That's why synthetic vitamins rarely work. And it's vitamin B, a vitamin B product, for example, when they say vitamin B complex, no, you talk about vitamins B1, B6, and B12, and that's just 3 B vitamins, no. And there's this disclaimer that says, if the product, this vitamin does not work, in 6 months' time, it does not produce desired results, you have to stop taking it. But the vitamin B naturals we have is composed of 8 B vitamins, plus, of course, another substance that actually makes it beneficial to the body. Yes.
Wow. We should have a whole different Zoom just analyzing.
Just analyzing the products.
Acerola C and beyond. Okay,
Sure,
because
sure.
as we introduced Noknet, she is also a pharmacist by background. So she can help us make sense of many of these products. Anyway, speaking of Nutrilite, some of you are already curious what that is. Allow us to share a few videos of how Nutrilite actually sources and manufactures some of their products. And a big keyword for them is traceability. The fact that you can trace what you buy all the way back to its farm. So please enjoy these videos, and then we'll maybe try to answer some questions with Romina and Dr.
I always wanted to explore what are the good things nature has to offer. Neutralite is all about botanicals. So it's a very good marriage between me and Neutralite. My name is Amit Chandra. I'm a phytochemist at Neutralite. In Neutralite, we are very particular about consistency in growing, analyzing, and delivering the raw materials in our products. We control the quality for Neutralite botanicals, right from seed to the supplement stage. If we don't have the right seed, we don't have the right plant coming up, we may not have the right amount of phytonutrients. Each botanical has its own phytochemical fingerprint. If we do not pay attention to the fingerprint, it may not be that botanical that we want. Once they reach the peak of those phytonutrients, we have to harvest them. And then we process them to make the extracts and the raw materials which go into our products. The process that Neutralite applies needs collaboration. A lot of people work together to ensure we maintain the quality to the supplement stage. We have a lot of scientists who understand those phytochemicals and manage the quality of the phytonutrients. We control the whole process starting from seed to supplement. It's a very good combination of nature and science coming together. That's why we call it best of nature, best of science.
Vitamin C is an essential nutrient. The hero ingredient for our vitamin C product is our acerola cherries. In order to understand why we have to take a visit to our farm, it's in the northeastern corner of Brazil where our acerola cherry trees can thrive. We produce over 14 million kilos of acerola cherries every year on 562 dedicated acres of organic farmland. Our team of researchers, the farmers and scientists, make sure that we are getting the highest levels of vitamin C from these trees through the grafting and the nurturing of these seedlings in the acerola nursery. Harvesting the fruit green is the better option because that's when the vitamin C content is at its peak. There are some concentration steps that occur, like reverse osmosis, which is extremely gentle, that separates the water, but yet keeps the vitamin C and the phytonutrients intact. Makes its way then from Brazil into our California manufacturing facility where products like our vitamin C tablet are made. By going through all of the effort as a team, we could bring forward very premium supplements like Neutralite Vitamin C.
Okay, we have one last video, then we'll do the Q&A.
Omega-3 fatty acids help maintain overall health, including healthy cardiovascular and nervous systems. They're essential nutrients, which means our bodies don't produce them. We need to get them from our diet. The American Heart Association recommends at least 2 servings of fatty fish per week from a variety of sources like salmon, anchovies, mackerel, and sardines. We need a balance of fatty acids in our diets, and one way to get that balance is through supplementation. Nutrilite is the world's #1 selling omega supplement brand. It contains an effective blend of omega-3 oils from 4 excellent fish sources. The Nutrilite ocean-friendly approach ensures long-term supply sustainability, and our trusted supplier in Norway uses a state-of-the-art manufacturing process. Every batch of fish oil is tested by a third-party lab to ensure quality and purity in each soft gel. At Nutrilite, we believe in combining the best of nature and the best of science to deliver high-quality products. I like the approach of looking at nature first because that's the best way to get your nutrients.
Okay, well, those were some really fascinating journeys into how Nutrilite makes their acerolasy and their omega-3. So again, this event is actually sponsored by Nutrilite, and they are one of our health partners. Anyway, we've got some questions. We'll try to get through them as quickly. Maybe we can limit our answers to about a minute because we have some really good questions. This first one comes from Olivia. Are all food with long expiry dates bad? So who would like to take a crack at this question?
Yeah. Okay. So when you have a very long expiry of food, no, that means it has a lot of how do you call this? Preservatives. It has a lot of additives. It has a lot of probably hydrogenated fat. Yeah.
There's a lot of chemicals there.
Yeah. So that's what makes it expire very long. Although there are some items from Isa that I take even if they're already expired. No, I was sent one time a pack of almonds, no, that are raw, no, not roasted, and it says it's already expired, but it's vacuum sealed. I still took it because the expiration is actually just a requirement of the FDA for marketing purposes and to make sure that those products are actually stored properly also. But I don't recommend everybody to be doing what I am doing because I'm a pharmacist and I know how things are, yeah. But long expiration, actually, there's one thing that I learned in the past, no. If your product, if the processed product that you are consuming lasts in the shelf, the grocery shelf, for at least 3 months, then it is full of preservatives and
chemicals.
Yeah, chemicals. So we're not supposed to be taking it. So the practice of buying all of this, for your children's baon is not healthy. Especially the cakes that are very cheap. 5 pesos or 6 pesos, by mga fudge or something,
Right.
You should be scared, when you take that and then it's individually wrapped. And if you're able to take that and it's not refrigerated and it's just in the shelf, you should be scared to take that when you're.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your hard and fast rule. 3 months. Okay.
3 months.
Maybe this next question we can throw it at Romina. This has to do, or DocNet as well.
Let's see.
This is about coffee. And
Okay.
our asker says that it was said that coffee is rich in antioxidants. But isn't it altered already because of sugar and cream? Okay. I'm assuming 3-in-1 coffee? Is that?
It seems like, that's the comment.
Yes, because it's already altered, so it has.
Yeah.
So let's assume it's.
Well, I grew up abusing coffee a lot because I was a nerd. So it was like water for me. Um, to a certain degree, it can keep you awake, but I think since I was also guilty of 3-in-1 coffee, or more of the flavored kind, cappuccino, that kind. Now, since I like those, I think it was mostly the sugar that kept me awake, but I would crash. Now, which triggers a vicious cycle. You end up trying to drink again because you don't like the crash. So you're going to, well, in my case, I'd go through 1 to 2 liters a day very fast. Now, it was a good thing. A dentist told me he needed to clean the stains, and it was so painful. Pain is a very good motivator. It stopped me from continuing that habit. And then I realized I don't need it to stay awake or to study better because I'm not crashing. My energy became stable. Yeah? So about the claims that coffee itself is a superfood or it's rich in antioxidants, tongue in cheek. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. If I miss coffee now, I enter Starbucks and I smell. And it smells good. Then I go out.
Yeah.
And my gums are healthier, no stains on my teeth, and I don't have to cry when I visit the dentist. I'm fine.
Thanks for that.
I'd like to add something, Ryan, if I may.
Okay.
Yeah. We had this one speaker on omega-3. He was this cardiologist from Australia who actually did not confine his patients. No, I'm sorry, what's the name? Ross Walker. Yeah, that's Ross Walker. I heard from one of his CDs that instant coffee is bad because a processed coffee, there's when you process coffee, there is this byproduct called cabestol, which actually increases your cholesterol levels, which is not good. I mean, we know now that cholesterol cannot be what do you call this, a basis for the person's risk, no, but just
It's a
that fact
marker.
that
Very
it's processed coffee already and it's instant coffee, it's not good to take that kind of coffee. Better take the Barako. That's the one that is rich in antioxidants, and of course 3-in-1. That is the one thing that I am telling drivers, taxi drivers, jeepney
Stop.
drivers to avoid, no, and even instant noodles. Yun.
Yeah.
High sugar content kasi sa 3-in-1 eh.
Correct.
Yeah.
The carb count is at least 20.
That's what some people associate with energy. Oof, I need
Energy. Yeah.
Well, we have one last question. And this has to do with breast cancer. Philippines has one of the highest incidence of breast cancer. I believe this is in Asia. Would that be linked to fast food or fat food or fast food
Fast food.
/ processed food diet?
I think so.
Is there a correlation?
Because it destroys the mitochondria of the cell. So that's DNA already. And when the DNA is altered, that's a cancerous cell. So whichever part of your body is vulnerable, let's say it's the breast, it can develop malignant tissue. And if we follow the route of Dr. Net, where meat that we eat has very high estrogen hormone, no? It will also explain why we also have a rising number of men with breast cancer.
That's true. Men can also get breast cancer.
Yes, they also have breasts. Yeah.
I agree with Romina. The high sugar, no, I mean, most Filipinos are actually have sweet tooth, and the high sugar consumption can actually lead to cancers also.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much to all of our questioners. I wish we could have this discussion live and keep it going, but we'll have to limit it to that for now. A big thank you, Romina and Doc Ned. We appreciate your time, your expertise. This has been a fantastic evening of learning. And not just for knowledge, but to really apply it in our lives and with our loved ones. So, sana hindi kayo magsawa sa amin, and we'll have you again with a different topic. But I think we can all agree that this was really something special tonight. So thank you so much.